back to the second installment of the Crustacean Nation podcast. I'm the voice of the Hickory Crawdads, Brian Rushing. So glad that you could join us for our second go at podcasting here with the Hickory Crawdads. When we come back on the other side of the timeout, we've got Mark Parker. Mark Parker has had a lot of hats on in his time with the Hickory Crawdads. And when we come back, we'll catch up with Mark Parker, and we'll have some of his best moments and experiences here at LP Franz Stadium. All that as we continue on with our second installment of the Crustacean Nation podcast right here on HickoryCrawdads.com. Crawdad fans, hello. This is Brian Rushing, the voice of the Hickory Crawdads. All season long, Pete and Jerry's Home Run Eggs, the official egg partner of minor league baseball, invites you to show off your excellent moves in the Shelly Shake Your Tail Feathers Dance-Off for your chance to win free eggs. Pete and Jerry's eggs are in a league of their own. Their hens are free to frolic under sunny skies on small family farms, laying eggs with impeccable taste and quality. Find them at your local supermarket. Bring some home today. Pete and Jerry's Home Run Eggs. And we welcome you back to the Crustacean Nation podcast. Here, the second episode of the Crustacean Nation podcast. And with me today, we have Mark Parker. As Mark has done a lot of things here at LP Franz Stadium, has worn a lot of hats here with the Hickory Crawdads organization. Mark, thank you for spending a little time with me today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's great having you. For anyone who may not know who you are, and you're not always visible, a lot of the times during the games, you're in the press box, you're scoring the game, but you have had times to where you've been very visible here at the ballpark. Kind of run down all of the jobs that you've held here at LP Franz Stadium as a member of the Crawdads.
Well, I was here full-time for 5 seasons, started in 2005. I started as group sales. Because of my work in the church, I'm a music director, did different things there, youth and so on. So I kind of know that lay of the land, so I did a lot of church groups during that time. But also, because I, connections in music and logistics and stuff, I did a lot of the video board stuff, the old video board, not the nice fancy one that we have here. I got the one that was sort of breaking down towards the end, video board, and ran the music, put together the game scripts for each evening. So I've always kind of been up in the press box during that tenure through 2009.
Through 2009. So effectively, you got in around the same time that the Texas Rangers organization began to fill the rosters here in Hickory.
They started in 2009 as the affiliate was the Pirates before that, Pittsburgh Pirates.
Indeed. Yeah. In fact, the Rangers are the third parent club to have an affiliation here with the Hickory Crawdads. From your time, what's been some of the most interesting stuff that you've had an opportunity to do as it relates to dealing with the public in the Unifor area?
Oh, gosh. Well, like I said, a lot of my time is been up in the press box, so people know me from either from the scoring or the time running the music and so on, and so they'll kid me. I was a person when I ran the music that would be I was the person that would try to pick unique walk-up music for the opposing players, and so that was something that was always enjoyable when I would do that. But, it's more of you're around here for a long time and you get to know people and you get to connect with people, and it really is sort of a baseball family that you get to know people and you see them year after year, and you watch some of their kids grow up. In some cases, you watch families come out year after year, and some of the older folks, not to be morbid, but you kind of see it's really a family type of thing, where people kind of know me and I know them, and you see them, but a lot of my time is up in the press box, and that's where folks know me from.
Mark Parker here with us on the Crustacean Nation podcast. Mark, did the Crawdads find you? Did you find the Crawdads? I mean, was this something to where perhaps you moved into the area and this became part of what you do? Have you lived here your whole life?
No,
How did all this happen?
I moved into the area 2002. I was out of work in 2004. There was a lady named Liz Helms who ran the line score. She lived her whole life in a wheelchair. I knew her from my church at St. Luke's Methodist, and she ran the line score here. Knew I was looking for work, and said if I was interested. I said, I'm not doing anything now, might as well. And so I applied. I'd come out here as a fan probably 10 nights a year, and so I have some familiarity with the product a little bit, but I had little knowledge of what actually went into baseball and being on a staff in a minor league sense, or anything, major league or minor league. And so we sort of found each other, I suppose. But through Liz is how I got the job here.
Now, obviously there was an appreciation that you developed for minor league baseball and working with the Crawdads here, but was there an affinity? Was there an appreciation for baseball in general as a fan?
For me, I grew up I was a Braves fan from the time I was 6 years old. I grew up in the Atlanta area, so I've been a lifelong baseball fan from the time I was 6 years old. Suffered through all of the horrible teams of the 70s and 80s, so the Braves, and so I, for the most part, have enjoyed the most the past 34 seasons of baseball with the following the Braves. But I've been a lifelong baseball fan.
Now, you raise an interesting point, because if you were in the Atlanta area at the time that the TBS Superstation became a thing and basically took over the airwaves as it relates to baseball, what was life like being in Atlanta, Georgia area and noticing that now everybody was virtually becoming a Braves fan in the Southeast?
It was so cool. It was so cool. I mean, I moved to I graduated from high school in '81, moved out to the West Coast. I wanted something different in life at that time. And you would go to a Dodger game, or you go to when the Braves would come into town, you go to a Dodger game, or live so close enough to San Diego to see them play the Padres. And it definitely had an imprint. There was definitely a footprint there on the West Coast that people followed the team. I mean, they were still Dodger fans or Padre fans, but there was still a connection with Ernie Johnson and Skip Carey and Pete Van Wieren at that time, that they had become had become more of a national product. The same with the Cubs, the WGN with the Cubs, and sort of grew up from there.
I mean, a lot of families that you're speaking of right now in this area would literally get home from school, watch a Cubs game in the day, because there were no lights at one time at Wrigley Field, and then watch an Atlanta Braves game because they would start at 7:35 at night. So you basically had time to watch a game, have dinner, watch another game, and go to bed late.
Absolutely.
And if you were a kid in this area, that was almost baseball paradise.
Yes,
so,
indeed.
And thinking about that, I mean, for you, going from Atlanta, Georgia area out to the West Coast, folks may not remember this, but there was a time that the Atlanta Braves were in the National League West, which made zero sense, but you were playing against teams like San Diego, San Francisco, Los Angeles with great regularity.
Yep. Three West Coast trips a year with the Padres and Dodgers and Giants, 18 games a year during that time frame. So when the division split up, if I recall right, the Cubs and the Mets and the Cardinals wanted to kind of all stay together, and so that's just kind of how that shook out.
Yeah, it was really interesting to see how everything kind of played itself out in a time to where there was no Arizona Diamondbacks and there was no Colorado Rockies. So, fortunately, expansion created a shifting in the divisions, which is why we now see the Atlanta Braves in the National League East. Mark, from your experience doing this, what's the one thing that motivates you to come to the ballpark and do what you do? I mean, obviously, watching 66 baseball games in a year, there can be a certain monotony to it. Not every game is the same, but many of this stuff are things that you've seen day in and day out? What is it that motivates you to get to the ballpark, get here early, and get your work in prior to the game starting?
As I've said, obviously I'm a baseball fan, but it's the connection with people still for me. It's you see the same people, you get to know them. There really is nothing better than a baseball family. You see the same staff for some year after year. You get to know them a little bit. So that's I think that's more of a motivation, even more than the baseball, is the people that you do work with and the fans that you do get to know. The folks down at Section 108 that you've gotten probably get to know a little bit, Chris and so on down there, and Gary sitting over here, and it's probably more that than just the baseball. It's a bit of a combination of both.
Now, you've also become along the way a bit of a Crawdads insider, and it's given you a platform on social media. How have you been able to take the information that you've been given, the things that you've been able to research on your own, and then translate it and almost be sort of a surrogate for knowledge for those baseball fans that want to know some of the inside stuff?
I don't get to do as much anymore, but I used to have more of a clubhouse presence, but now my job sort of lingers on where I can't get here as early as I used to be able to do that. So I do miss some of that, being able to do a little bit more with the interviews with players and managers and so on. I try to get down there about once a week, if twice, if time works out. But I'm still a student of the game in a lot of ways, and seeing just kind of how things play out, kind of getting to know a little bit about how the Rangers like to do things, and kind of, when you get a sense of, my player might be, for example, player might be ready to move up. He's showing some things. It might be time to, might need a different challenge, that sort of thing. It's just, as far as the presence on social media, it's just me sitting in a press box and watching a game. And I know a lot of Rangers fans can't get out here, and then until this year there wasn't the video presence, and so folks in the Arlington, Dallas area who follow the Rangers kind of want to know what's going on. They don't get to see that, and until you came back, we didn't have a radio presence, and so the folks want to know that. So I tried to provide that. Here's what I see. Here is, the pitcher's not doing well, but there are some things to give you hope, or this is maybe this particular kid may be pushing a little bit, or this pitch is working well, or like, for example, with Walcott, made the note last night that the first week he was, as you know, he was swinging at everything, and he's now working a lot of walks. He already has more walks this year than he had all of last year. It's just trying to give a perspective for fans that can't get here. Is what do I see? And here is what I see. I'm not a scout, and I'll tell folks up front, I'm not a scout. There are people a lot smarter at this than I am, but this is what I see. Here's my perspective, and I think, having done this now, I've been scoring since 2009, the 2009 season. You pick up things, you pick up trends, you sort of kind of get a sense of, where this kid is doing something that's worth noting, or this one may not be working out as well. I do try to keep it positive for the most part, because this is a learning station for them. They're all working on something. They're all working on obviously trying to get to the next level, but they're here for a reason. They have challenges. There are things that the Rangers want to see. And you sort of get a sense of that the longer you do this.
All right. So, Mark, every time we've got a guest on for our Crustacean Nation podcast, we always do something that we call In a Pinch.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you 3 rapid-fire questions. Whatever comes off the top of your head, that's what we're going to go with. Okay? So
right.
Question number 1. Who's the best player, home or away, that you've ever seen play here at LP France Stadium?
I'm going to give you a home and away.
Okay.
The best one road away was Jason Hayward.
Okay.
18 years old, 2008 season with the Rome Braves at the time, and Freddie Freeman was on that, and he was no slouch either. And I'm going to need to give you a longer answer for that. But Jason Hayward, as far as an 18-year-old, big kid, ran like a deer. Had an arm. Saw him throw a kid out at third from probably close to 300 feet away down the right field line. Just had a rocket for an arm. Had just a bat. Just the ball came out of his bat that just sounded different. 2008 though, in that season, that was the first year I was given a chance to vote for the South Atlantic League team. And so you pick your pitcher of the year, you pick your MVP, you pick who you think your prospect was. In that season, we had Jason Hayward, we had known as Mike Stanton then, John Carlo, we had Freddie Freeman, and we had Madison Bumgarner. Now pick your best prospect out of that group.
Well, and
so that was as far as road team coming in, that was a special year. But this is a pure athletic. You could do it all at 18. Jason Hayward is still my favorite player as a road player. Just a phenomenal player. Home, gosh, my favorite player. I don't know that he is the most athletic. My favorite player is Jose Trevino, who caught here 2015.
You don't know this, but you're the second person who's made Trevino the choice.
He
Douglas Locascio, that's his best also.
Yep. He just a leadership skills. I can see him managing someday, and I thought that then. He just had a unique perspective. He was just absolutely friendly with fans, home and away. You get a game at Kannapolis, he's cutting up with the fans, chatting with them, fist bumping kids through the net. He just was a kid who will give you everything that he has ability-wise. And I've told people that there are people that it's always cool to see somebody get to the major league for the first time. And it's always going to be, oh, it's cool he played here. And we've had a bunch of them, and a bunch of them we've seen. Jose is one of those that you care that he got to the major league.
Sure.
It was just really, this is a kid that wasn't necessarily the most skilled, but he is one of those, one, you'll have to turn your uniform off of when he's done, and two, he was going to make it. He was going to figure out how to wait, and he's a really good chance to make an All-Star for the second time this year.
Okay. Question number 2. Your strangest scoring scenario that you can recall?
That I can recall. There's always something that comes up every year, and then I forget. I think there was one last year where you have a sac fly to the second baseman, and a runner still scores. And I forget. I don't remember who or what, but it was I want to say it was Hickory on the field, but I don't remember. I mean, on the bases, I don't remember the team on the field. I could probably look it up, but it was a little pop fly beyond the cut of the grass, past second base, and guy caught it and just sort of lollygagged around it, and every player took off and scored home. And
okay. You definitely do not see that every day.
You do not get that, and it's just one of those. You get one or two a year that you sort of, But that's the one I remember from last year, just off the top of my head.
Okay. Now this one I think you're going to have fun with.
Okay.
Final question in our In a Pinch segment. Most entertaining ejection.
Okay. I'm going to give you 3.
Okay.
If I can. All right. 2 of them came in, and you and I talked about this a couple of days ago. It's May was the 23rd a couple of days ago. That was the 11th anniversary of one of these Stranger games, and I wasn't even here. It was one of those. It was my son's graduation, so I missed the game. But this is a legendary game here, where both managers get tossed. Both Tommy Thompson from Kannapolis. You can go on YouTube, just to YouTube Tommy Thompson ejection. He does the blind man, takes off a hat, and does the little offering with the hat to the umpires that he's blind, and then spikes his scorecard, takes a walk towards the clubhouse, turns, take one shoe off at a time, throw it back towards the infield. And then the other that game was Corey Ragsdale. Corey is probably my favorite manager. Just a good guy to talk to. Always a lot of interest. Always a lot of interesting things to talk about with him. Was real introspective. But there was a walk-off home run by Jordan Akins that was called back, and Corey and the pitching coach both got run. But on YouTube, look up Corey Ragsdale ejection, and he is as mad as you can probably be. So those are the ones that I didn't get to be here for, but you see them. It's rare that you have an ejection, a viral presence on internet, and you have two in one game. The one I was here for, my first year as far as scorekeeping and doing interviews and so was Bill Richardson was a manager here, 2010, and he was kind of learning the ropes. He had come out of a high school background. I think, if I remember right, he had a season in the Arizona League and then came here in low A ball in his first year here. And his first two ejections, and I kidded him about this. He was a good guy you could kind of poke with. The first ejection he had, both were kind of home plate area type of things. The first ejection was, and you get the F-bombs and so on, was Education Day with all the school kids here. The second one was Christian Concert Night, where you have all the church groups here.
But of course, yeah.
So I kid him. I said, hey, Bill, we can bring out a bunch of nuns. You can go off another time if you'd like to. So I've never forgotten that. I thought it was funny. His first two ejections were kids in the group and church groups in the stands.
And as they say, timing is everything.
Exactly.
And speaking of which, Mark Parker, thank you so much for taking some time with us on our Crustacean Nation podcast.
Anytime. Appreciate it.
Thank you so
Yes,
much.
sir.
We come back on the other side of the break. We'll put a bow on this second installment of the Crustacean Nation podcast. We'll be back in just a bit. The Sweet Frog Claw Club is the official club for kids 12 and under. This year, a 2024 membership includes complimentary ticket to every Crawdads home game, a complimentary voucher for Speed Pitch, carousel rides, and the Bounce House each Saturday, discounts, and so much more. Make sure that you get your mom and dad to sign you up for the Sweet Frog Claw Club. Hickory Crawdads Baseball, abide by the claw. And we want to thank you so much for tuning in to this latest installment of the Crustacean Nation podcast. I want to thank Mark Parker for spending a little time with us, telling stories about his time with the Hickory Crawdads. Folks, don't forget this weekend, I'm going to be in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, as the Crawdads will be taking on the Dash. We'll be bringing the final 3 games of that series to you on HickoryCrawdads.com, the Hickory Crawdads Radio Network, as we'll be in town Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday afternoon as the Crawdads will try to take down the Winston-Salem Dash. And until we're back with you next time with the next installment of the Crustacean Nation podcast, this is Brian Rushing reminding you to abide by the claw. We'll see you next time. Your online home for all things Hickory Crawdads can be found at www.hickorycrawdads.com. Looking for upcoming schedules? HickoryCrawdads.com. Looking for the latest swag? HickoryCrawdads.com. Want to buy tickets to an upcoming series? HickoryCrawdads.com. Your online home for all things dads, www.hickorycrawdads.com.
In the cool Catawba River mist, there's excitement in the air. From Lake Hickory shores across Unifor, it's spreading everywhere. From the young folks to the old folks, it's a feeling they can't hide. Since the Crawdads came to Hickory, this whole town's filled with pride. Hometown baseball, it's got a hold on me. Give me Crawdads baseball, Hickory's own number 1 hometown baseball team. There's an old rebel spirit in every part of France Stadium. So let's stand and cheer, cause the dads are here and the fight has just begun. And to those who should oppose us, well, let them know this law. When you tangle with a crawdad, you're gonna feel the claw. Hometown baseball, it's got a hold friends and family, the good times have just begun. Hometown